What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update, and you know exactly what we're going to be speaking about today. So there's been quite a bit of development over the last night and today, so let's get into the Harry Kane story. Gary Jacobs says that Bayern officials signalled they are ready to bid up to £85 million for the England captain during a lunch meeting in London with Daniel Levy. Tottenham would want an offer of about £100 million to sell Harry Kane and have been looking for young forwards as potential replacements. Bayern are increasingly confident of signing Harry Kane after holding positive talks with Tottenham. David Ornstein says that Bayern Munich and Tottenham were around £25 million apart in their valuation of Harry Kane after talks in London yesterday. Ben Jacobs says there remains a significant gulf in the valuation between Tottenham and Bayern for Harry Kane. Bayern trying for a total package of around £80 million, unlikely to be enough. Bayern indicated they'll make a new offer and will ask Kane to put pressure on Spurs. Sami Mokbel says that Bayern Munich are ready to smash their transfer record and bid £85 million for Harry Kane, whilst Daniel Levy wants around £100 million for Harry Kane. It is believed an offer in the region of £90 million would tempt them. Romano says despite the gap in valuation after a face-to-face meeting on Monday, Bayern will insist on Harry Kane deal as they feel confident. Bayern want to bid again and go close to the €100 million package for Harry Kane. This is why they don't want to spend big on a new goalkeeper. However, Dan Kilpatrick has just done an article and he's saying that Harry Kane is planning to stay at Tottenham if no agreement with Bayern Munich or anyone else is reached before the opening game of the season at Brentford, which is less than 2 weeks away. Spurs, though, are not setting a deadline on deciding his future.
And he's claiming that he's open to renegotiating a contract in the early months of the season as well, which that would be hard
if he sees significant progress.
If he sees significant progress with the team, which would be quite a U-turn if that's to be the case. If let's say in October, November time, Tottenham are somehow flying, then I'm guessing he would consider signing a contract. But I still find that hard to believe. Maybe it's a case of, just signing like another year extension with maybe a release clause in it or something, and just keep all options open. Not something that would put him which would close his options too much in the summer, but something that would basically protect Tottenham from him leaving on a free. Maybe it's something that would something that would look like that. I still find it hard to believe. He would take that power away from himself, though, with the ability to leave on a free next year with a lot of options coming up. So if I was his agent, I wouldn't. Depending what the contract looks like, but I think I would advise not signing a contract at this moment until the very last minute, essentially.
What would you say, like, if you were in Harry Kane's camp and the contract on the table is to be the highest paid player in the Premier League with around £150 million release clause?
I think the release clause would be too high. I would say that's too high. I would say
100 million.
Yeah, 100 million. I think next year, I think that's a figure that's more realistic. And then you're the highest paid player in the Premier League. So if he look. And again, it all depends on what happens this season in terms of what Harry Kane's going to be thinking if he does stay. I think football moves so quickly. I know the last 4 years have been terrible in terms of what we've been competing for and where we've been, the direction we've been going as a club. And for sure, having him being in this team for the last 4 years, there's no reason for him to sit here and say, I'm going to commit my future right now. But football moves very quickly. And if Tottenham can get their act together very quickly next season and show capabilities of competing, then there is no reason why at the end of next season he won't turn around and say, look, I'm at a good club, it's my boyhood club, it's a club I love, and I actually see us competing, and I can see myself extending my future here. There's no reason why that can't happen, but it's hard to envision that future given how the last 4 years have been.
Never mind the last 4 years. Look at the way this transfer window and the last transfer window are going with the whole centre-back situation. Ange Postecoglou came in, right, in a good amount of time to go get all those transfer dealings done. We're desperate for centre-backs. And I, for one, was willing to put my feelings of the hierarchy aside and really give this club a chance and give Ange Postecoglou a massive chance to go and improve everything that's going on in this football club. But they're holding us back to be here right now with less than 2 weeks to go to the season, not one centre-back in is an absolute disgrace. And on top of that, we have no clue what is going on with our best player of all time, Harry Kane. I mean, these things that to be not ironed out less than 2 weeks before a season, pivotal things that can really shape our season next year, it's nowhere near good enough. And it's a disgrace, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. I absolutely agree. But as I say, things change very quickly in football, and I know we're in a bad position. I'm not happy with the position we're in right now. Don't get me wrong. I'm very frustrated with the movement, the slow movement in the transfer window, the lack of clarity surrounding the Kane situation. We're not far away from the season. I'm completely frustrated with all that, but that doesn't mean that if we can get a couple of centre-backs before it looks like very unlikely before the start of the season, but I guess at this point, before the end of the window, that doesn't mean we still can't have a good season, essentially, even at this point. I know it's hard to envisage that, but things change very quickly. Look at Man United last season. They got battered their first 2 games. Everyone it looked for all the world to see they were in disarray, and then they got their act together and ended up having a good season. So I think it's not too late right now, as much as it's frustrating. And I don't like the planning, the long-term planning. But things change very quickly in football. But in terms of this, not ultimatum, but this update from Kane from Dan Kilpatrick is interesting to think about, because you can look at it 2 ways. Is he saying, look, I don't want to jeopardise Postecoglou's first season? And in the article I read, it said that Kane feels like it would be unfair if he starts the season at Spurs and ends up leaving. It'll be unfair on Postecoglou, and he doesn't want to jeopardise that. And he feels like if he starts the season with Spurs, that's where he's going to be. But there's another way of looking at it and thinking him putting this kind of time limit on it, is that putting pressure on Tottenham to kind of get a deal done quickly and maybe compromise on their price, or is he putting Tottenham in a stronger position and forcing Bayern to up their price?
I mean, the way I look at it, it's a play to Bayern Munich, either put up or shut up. You know, they know the price, over 100 million, if not 100 million pounds. And if you're not going to get to that, then shut up, because it's not going to be accepted. So, I mean, look, there are plenty of ways you can look at it, but that's the way I'm looking at it.
Do you think from Kane's point of view, he's looking at Bayern, like trying to lowball Tottenham a bit, trying to go for 75 million bid deals, 80 million deals, and he must feel like, look, I'm the best striker in Europe. He probably feels that, he believes in himself. His self-belief is unbelievable. So do you not think maybe he's looking at these bids, and as much as he'd definitely be open to a buy-in move if the deal gets agreed, like, is he not looking at these bids of 80 million and thinking, I'm worth more than this? Like, if you can't get to the 100 million that I'm worth, like, why should I bust a gut to try and move to you?
Yeah, it's the same situation as the Man City situation a couple of years ago. They didn't want to bid anywhere close to what Harry Kane was actually worth, and that's when he had 3 years left on his contract. Now he's got 1 year left, so there's a bit more give and take, in my opinion, in terms of the price that we're going to accept. But yeah, I think you're completely right. I mean, Bayern, I think they will get to a figure where it's acceptable for Daniel Levy to accept. So I think it's just literally a play from Harry Kane or Harry Kane's camp to say to Bayern, look, either get this deal done or go and find someone else, because you're not bidding anywhere near enough right now.
And it's interesting that he has that word. I don't know if that's coming from Tottenham's camp or Kane's camp, this Kilpatrick update, but if it is coming from Kane's camp, I think that would be an indication that as much as he would prefer a move this summer, maybe he's not desperate for it, which maybe was a different case a couple of years ago.
Yeah, look, we know exactly where the power that Harry Kane holds right now. He can either go to Bayern this summer and Spurs will get whatever it may be, £100 million, or he can run down his contract till the end of the season and he'll get paid very handsomely at a signing on fee to whichever club he goes to. He'll probably get monstrous wages for a free transfer as well, and he'll have his pick of the clubs to go to. And I think that will be the same case as well, potentially, if there is a buy option in his contract. There'll be more clubs on the table for him, because he'll know that any club can meet that buy option. And right now, it's like Daniel Levy will not sell to win in the Premier League. So I think Harry Kane knows he holds all the cards right now. So there is no rush on his part at all.
100%, but it's an interesting update from Kilpatrick. I guess things will develop very quickly before the start of the season if this is to be the case.
Yeah, So keep your eyes peeled on the Harry Kane situation. In terms of forward options that Gary Jacob was talking about, Sammy Mockbell says that Tottenham have been busy assessing forward options to fill the void if Harry Kane does leave. Bayern's Matthias Tell has been mentioned, though he isn't overly keen on a move, and Gift Orban of Genk is another one to be thought to be under consideration at this moment in time. We brought you the news about Gift Orban yesterday. We spoke about Matthias Tell at the back end of last week as well. I mean, if Matthias Tell isn't overly keen of joining Tottenham, I'm surely that's a non-starter, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Also, Bayern don't seem keen to let him go. I think Brennan Johnson was also mentioned in the forward options in that article as well. So, but again, they've rejected 35 million from Brentford. So to see Tottenham topping that kind of bid seems unlikely. So that does leave Gift Orban. I wonder what kind of fee he's going to command, Gift Orban, because he's not been in the Belgian league for long. So I think last season, I think he only join in January? I don't know if he was there for the whole season.
Yeah, I believe so.
So he's not been there for long at all. So getting him that early, is he going to command an even bigger fee than maybe if we got him later on? I don't know, but for me, I'd be looking more into Gift Orban. He definitely seems like a talent who's exploding right now, and he's still so young. And although he's older than someone like Rasmus Højlund, what he's showing at the moment, he's playing in the Conference League and he's scoring hat-tricks and impressive hat-tricks as well. And he's really got good technical ability for a player that's come from nowhere. So it would be a very, very interesting option to get him in. I mean, obviously replacing Harry Kane with a player who's only played 15 times in the Belgian League would be a bit of a risk. But I think with Richarlison there as the first choice anyway, I think there's a risk we can take.
Yeah, and I feel like bringing in someone like Gift Orban with the qualities that he does have, I think he will fit into Ange Postecoglou's system. A nice pressing forward from the front with explosive pace, with someone that clearly knows where the goal is and the back of the net is. I think that him and Richarlison as the options for the number 9 will actually make me quite excited going into next season. So, I mean, if Harry Kane was to leave and we could get a Gift Orban for 20 to 30 million and then put the rest of the money into the centre backs with probably some money on top of that, I would think that's really good business in my opinion. Obviously, it's hard to lose Harry Kane, and you don't want to lose Harry Kane. And my first and foremost would be to keep Harry Kane, but if we are going to lose Harry Kane, I think we can do a lot worse than really revolutionising our backline, something that's needed for so long, plus bringing in an up-and-coming talent in Gift Orban who has the ability to really explode.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see the Kane money being directly linked to the centre-backs, in my opinion. I know we're waiting for centre-backs to come in, but I don't think it's just because of the Kane money we're waiting. I think we're just bloated in general. We've got 36 players in our squad right now. We're waiting. I think we're waiting to sell a lot of players. Sanchez, Højbjerg, there's a lot of players. Rodon. There's lots of players in our squad which I think we're waiting to decide their futures on, and I think that's the hold-up. Maybe Kane, a bit of it is Kane as well, but I think in general the squad is just so bloated. I believe once we get some out the door, these centre-backs will come. I don't think it's just directly linked to the Kane saga.
The way I look at things, and the way Spurs should be doing things, is you get your squad sorted first and foremost. Never mind the bloatedness, never mind how many players you got on your books. You sort that out first and foremost so you can guarantee, or not guarantee, but give yourselves the best chance of having a good season. And if it comes down to it and you still can't get these players out the door, then you've got to make a hard decision right at the end of the transfer window, whether you try and let these guys go for free, rip up contracts, or do something along those lines, because all this is doing is holding us back right now. We need to put ourselves in a position where it gives Ange Postecoglou the best chance to have a good season. And right now, we're not doing that.
The problem is, if you set that precedent, what's going to happen is teams are going to not buy anyone and wait till you release them at the end of the window. That's what's going to happen. And obviously Tottenham don't want to set that precedent. So I understand that, but I agree. I think Tottenham too often they are caught waiting and a state of like paralysis, waiting for players to be sold rather than getting your squad right. And too often we're going to the season with a squad which isn't suited for what we need because of these issues, and we're at risk of that happening again, unfortunately.
But you got to look at it. All you got to do is look at Arsenal as an example, right? They did that, and it was the making of them. They never look back. They've completely revitalized their squad, and now look at them now. They're completely flying. And we can do something similar if we followed that model, and if we really kind of were ruthless with these players that don't fit what we want to do anymore. But this is Tottenham we're talking about, so we'll have to see what happens. But a player that could potentially be going out the door is Sergio Reguilon, as Dario AS are reporting that Real Sociedad have reactivated contact with Tottenham Hotspur, the signing of defender Sergio Reguilon. There are signs of the deal prospering for the left-back now before the end of his current summer transfer window. What do you think of Reguilon? Because he did get minutes in the pre-season tour, didn't really do that well, to be honest. We do have Ben Davis, who could play left-back, who's Ange Postecoglou sung his praises already. We've got Ryan Sessegnon, who's out injured, but obviously we're not going to get rid of him, and he'll be an option when he does come back. So I guess Reguilon is the one that's going to be the fall guy, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't think he's totally suited to how Postecoglou wants to play. I think he's a good player, and I don't think was out of his depth or anything when he was playing. I just don't think he's perfect for the role. And in terms of players that we need to get money for, look, Spurs need to raise funds, and we need to trim this squad at the moment. So we need players who are wanted by other clubs around Europe, who we can get some money for, and who, especially players like Reguilon, who aren't a perfect fit. And if it means Davis is our backup left back as opposed to Reguilon, then so be it. To be honest, I think I would rather Reguilon in that role. But I don't see us getting money for Davis. I don't see him leaving anytime soon. And he can cover the centre-back role as well. So he does have his value in staying. And he's a bit of a leader in the dressing room, given he's been there for so long. So I think it makes sense. Get some money for Reguilon, start trimming the squad that way. And that's perfect for what we need, in my opinion. So I think if they stump up the cash, I think it makes sense to sell.
And moving on, there's talks of more outgoings at Tottenham, this time revolving Tanguy Ndombele, as reports in Turkey are claiming that Galatasaray have reached an agreement in principle over personal terms with Tanguy Ndombele. Tottenham have rejected €8 million offer from the Turkish club because they want at least €10 million. So maybe something is happening here.
Looks like it. I mean, in terms of personal terms, that's going to be the sticky part, because we know Ndombele's on a big wage at Tottenham. If that has been agreed, I don't think a fee would be a massive haul with Tottenham, because I do think it looks like Tottenham are happy to sell him, or it did look like that, especially in the last season. €10 million isn't a massive fee, but the main thing is getting the wages off the books. And if that was to be the case, I'd be disappointed with the fact that he's leaving without getting a chance under Postecoglou. But if that's what he wants, then I think it's probably best for everyone, because I don't think you want a player here who isn't fully committed to what we want to do.
Come on, Simi, you're right.
No?
You're right, Sim.
I'm a bit sad. Look, we'll have to wait and see, because it's just reports out in Turkey, so we'll have to wait and see how accurate it is. But it is a shame, in my opinion, because I do think under Postecoglou there was something there that having Ndombele in the team could do. But I think at the end of the day, we have to trim the squad. We can't keep all these players. And I said I can't see Lo Celso and Ndombele staying. I think one of them will leave. And it seems though Ndombele could be the one.
Yeah, and if this is true and they're saying they're just €2 million apart in valuation, you do expect it to get done, won't you?
2 million's nothing. I think they'll probably just up the bid by 2 million. It's not a lot of money. Which makes me a bit sceptical. Is like, why, if there's only 2 million, like, why there shouldn't be a delay? Like, it's just okay, an extra 2 million, whatever.
Yeah, well, let's hope something can get done. But this report is absolutely music to my ears. So let's move on. Let's talk about a couple of players that we could be loaning out. As George Sessions says that Tottenham duo Alfie Devine and Dane Scarlett are being lined up for loan moves away. It's felt the best next step for their development would be to secure a loan away from Spurs for the current campaign. We saw Dane Scarlett go on loan last year. I mean, he had a really good first half of his loan, and then the manager change, and it didn't really happen for him second half of his loan. Alfie Devine had a really good performance in the second half against West Ham when he did come on in the pre-season tour. And what kind of loans do you reckon these guys get? Are they going Championship, League One?
I think for Devine, he'll probably be looking for a championship loan, because in the academy, he seems to be flying when he plays in the academy matches, and he seems to be a level above it. Or clearly, when he played in the pre-season, he didn't seem out of place at all. So I know it would be his first loan. So you could argue that a championship is quite a high level, but I think he had his birthday today. I think it was his 19. Was he 19 today? So
yeah.
he's not like. I mean, 19 is young. Don't get me wrong, and it's not like old, but he's not like 17 or 18.
It's only a year younger than Destiny.
Exactly. So I think he played as well. Did he? He's played at England youth level as well. So I think that a championship loan is not beyond the realms of possibility to really get those minutes. I'll be very interested to see how he would perform, even at League One level. But if it was championship level, I'd be very interested to see if he's ready for that kind of level, even at his age, because he definitely seems to be a star in the making, Alfie Devine. And I'm really believe that this guy, if we stick with him, he's going to be a first teamer in the coming next couple of years.
Do you think maybe even potentially like a lower down Premier League team, like a Luton or someone like that?
I think that's probably too early for him. I mean, I might be wrong because it is his first loan move, but I think Premier League, I would like to see him in the Championship first, in my opinion. I don't want to put him under too much pressure playing at a Premier League level. But maybe he feels like he's ready for that, maybe. But I feel like Championship's probably more suited.
To be fair, like the loan that Ollie Skip got at Norwich was the making of him, wasn't it? And playing regularly week in, week out was one of the best players in the Championship that season. Norwich got promoted that season as well, and he was absolutely pivotal to that. So if Alfie Devine can have like a similar loan, have a real big impact for a team that's coming up next season, I mean, that could be the making of him.
100%. And in terms of Dane Scarlett, Portsmouth were League 2 last season.
Yeah.
And
no, League One.
They were League One. I don't think from what I saw, he didn't seem to be playing bad, but obviously the goals dried up in the second half of the season, wasn't starting as often, was played out wide a lot. So I wouldn't mind another League One loan for a team that's, you can play regularly up front, but it'd be interesting to see if he does get a Championship loan, if he's physically ready for that kind of level, because he doesn't seem, as much as he's developing himself, I think he still's got to grow into himself a bit, Dane Scarlett, to play that number 9 role. Otherwise, at the moment, I think he's got to be on the wing for the time being. Yeah,
you're probably right. But where does this leave Troy Parrott? No real news about him, no real talk about him of going on loan or anything.
He's injured,
I think he is currently injured. He does have his injury problems, Troy Parrott, over the last couple of years. Didn't really do it in any of his loan spells, which you could say similar about Harry Kane. Didn't really do it at his loan spells early on either. I mean, what's going on with Troy Parrott?
He's injured. What can we say? He didn't come on the pre-season tour, so it's hard to say where he is at the moment. For Preston last season, he started his loan spell well, and then again the goals kind of dried up a bit second half of the season. Wasn't able to. Was in and out of the team. He's now 21, is he?
21.
So he's not old, but he's not like, Gift Orban's 21. We're referring to him as a youngster, same age as someone like Troy Parrott.
But we are referring to Gift Orban to coming into our first team and really making an impact.
Correct.
It's not, someone at that age should start now to really make a name for themselves. And Troy Parrott, I think if he goes on loan this year, this is probably his last loan. And either he comes back and be part of the first team or we try and sell him.
Yeah, I think the idea was last season was for him to have a real breakout season in the Championship, then come back to the first team at Tottenham, I think. And it didn't quite happen for him. So it puts Tottenham in an awkward position. Do you want to give up on a player who's talented but not quite making the step up into the Tottenham first team? Or is there another loan move, or do you just sell him? And then again, if we sell him, I don't think they're not going to get anything significant in terms of money. So I think it's probably worth another loan move just to see if we can get anything out of it. And if he can have another good loan move, then we sell him for a decent fee, or we can bring him into the first team. So if I was to make the decision, I think I would rather loan him than sell him. But I don't think he's going to be in the first team.
When you do sell him, if you are really worried that he is going to be great, you could either put a buyback option in there or you can put a sell-on fee in there as well.
Yeah, I'd rather buy. Yeah, I think as for strikers, they're dime a dozen. So if you really got a striker there who can play in the Premier League, that's worth a lot of money. Even if it's a striker who's only going to get between 5 and 10 goals or something, that's worth a lot. So I think for a striker, I think a buyback option's got to be in there if you really believe in him.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is your Tottenham update for now. Let me know in the comments section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we've talked to you today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.